Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the casual stream, and my apologies for the slight delay in this one. Few things I was doing, ultimately lost a bit of time. You know how it goes, but as always, we are here, and yeah, look, shout outs to everyone in the building for coming in. Um, there's a few things to talk about. I haven't even checked all of the all the stuff that's kind of been going on in the game and talk on the streets. But we did the weekend wrap. It came out Monday morning. There was obviously no mention of Chris Shields in there, as it was recorded on Sunday and uploaded. And just due to the time it actually got recorded, we went to Fight Talk Live. And yeah, obviously I couldn't upload it at that time, so I thought, let me wait, and then I'll do it as soon as it's finished, and I'll do it in the morning. The fight ends up being a little bit more interesting than I thought it would be. I mean, the prediction stuff, I knew it would, but outside of that, so I figured let's talk about that first. Then we can talk about a bunch of disinformation that we seem to be hearing. What Canelo's looking to be up to for the rest of the year. Everything from a potential Jake Paul fight in May, which people have been talking about, to the Crawford fight supposedly being signed and locked in for September. I guess we can just sort of chop up a few other bits and pieces outside of that. So, yeah, before we do get into all of that, let me just greet whoever's here and whoever's been here from earlier. Apologies for those that been waiting. Obviously, number one, my guy Philip Ansel in the building, so shout out to you, Philip. Hot Fire's in the building, salute, big up, and man like Muller, shout out to you. There will be, we're gonna have to do another casual stream at some point, probably I reckon in a couple of weeks, sometime after the 15th of February. There's a few pretty big films and stuff coming out for then, so we can sort that later on in time. But yeah, look, let me not even waste too much time. So let me give you the thoughts on what I saw on the Clarissa Shields and Daniel Perkins. Now, I haven't seen anything on the undercard. I literally woke up to the main event, and I think I rewound it just to watch that for the time being. Apparently there's some pretty good or some pretty interesting fights on the undercard, so I will check it. I might even do it a little bit later on if I'm awake, because I won't lie, the struggle to wake up has been a bit real in the last couple of days. Them late night, them American ones, they do take it out of you, and you get it for the next day or two. Just don't really feel right. And even right now I feel a little bit zombie, right? Like I dozed off a little earlier on today. So yeah, but look, Clarissa Shields and Daniel Perkins. And the first thing, even though obviously I knew Perkins was like a bigger woman than Shields, and I think it's the third person that Shields has ever actually fought that's like taller, longer, rangier than she is. But I don't think I expected her to be that much taller. Like you see it in the face-offs and stuff like that. I mean, Clarissa must have been wearing heels or something, because the size difference in the ring was a lot more than the size difference in a lot of the photographs that I saw prior. I knew that they had said Daniel Perkins was like 6 foot or something like that, 6 foot, 1, and I know Clarissa's supposed to be about 5'7". But yeah, it really looked. It literally like a praying mantis against a stag beetle in the ring. That, in terms of the size and the height differential, that's kind of what it reminded me of. It's T-Rex for sure. But look, in those first couple rounds, like Clarissa looked like she was finding it a little bit difficult, with the trying to find the range and working out the timing, the jab, all of that sort of stuff there. But she was keeping, she was doing well as a counterpuncher. To be fair, um, I think she won those first two rounds pretty convincingly, but you could tell that she was looking a little bit uncomfortable, and I can't blame her to be honest in that sense. But I think where the fight really got interesting was the third round. Obviously, Clarissa with counter punching in the third round did very well, and obviously had Daniel Perkins, rocking and rolling for a period of time. 2-minute rounds probably saved her in that moment, but she came back into the fight after that. Now I've only watched the fight. I've watched the fight once, like all the way through, and I wasn't, like hard scoring. But I believe the fourth round. I believe I gave the fourth round to Danielle Perkins, not because she was like dominant in it, but she was landing some pretty good shots, and it was a big recovery round from the third. I think it was the fourth round. It was either the fourth or the fifth. And then I remember Clarissa was doing well again, controlling the fight up until I think it was round 7, and then I think in round 8. I think round 8 I actually gave to Perkins again. I think that she was really, really in playing that backhand, pushing Clarissa Shields back, being rough, rugged with her, like holding, leaning on the inside, punching off of it, like sort of hitting and holding as well. There was one point she had the right hand over the head of Clarissa, punching with the left just until the ref had to warn her about it. But yeah, I think it was the 8th round. She was just kind of really getting after her. And then I think you can make an argument maybe the 9th, she did some decent work there as well. But I had her winning at least 2 rounds. And at the time I was thinking to myself, all right, if I give her these rounds, are people going to say the fact that I don't like Clarissa the reason why I'm giving her these rounds? Because is Clarissa pitching a shutout here? And I had to check. I was like, nah, look, to me, I feel like these rounds weren't hers, but she still had success in them. So maybe she did, do the clean sweep type thing. Then we get to that 10th round. Look, 10th round was fairly conclusive in the last 10 seconds of it. Perkins again, she was coming into it doing quite well, trying to press the pace, press the action, until that nasty counter right hand lands in 10 seconds before the bell. And you know what? Maybe Clarissa was right when she was saying that she hits hard, right? Obviously, we can all look at the 3 KOs in the 16 fights. And it's women's boxing, so it is one thing. But imagine if all this time, making 160 and making 168 was draining her power. Like, could you imagine if she is legitimately that big that anything underneath 168 pounds, like, she can't crack an egg? Is it that, or is it just the fact that as much as she is supposed to be like an elite level boxer, a lot of it is literally just its flurries. It's having quicker hands than your opponent, but it's almost like sometimes I watch her fights and I think you're elite, but it just reminds me of a playground, just head down, swing, and then just the first person to connect. And I don't know if that's maybe just me like being overcritical, but then loads of times I'm looking, and in one moment I can see the timing, I can see the distance, and I can see trying to set up shots. But then the rest of it, it's like, boom, what am I just watching? Almost like just like a pub brawl. I'm just gonna throw as much as I can and hope that I land, and then get you that. That's what it looks like to me. And it's crazy that someone that's 16 pro fights now, been a pro for, well, started in 2017, so been a pro for coming up to 9 years, and you still fight like you're on the street a lot of the time, and using your speed. Like, I guess the fact you've got a speed advantage over a lot of these, because if I'm gonna be real, and again, maybe someone might criticize, say that, look, I'm hating, and if I am, I apologize. It's not my intention, but I actually think Danielle Perkins looked better fundamentally than Clarissa Shields did in the ring. Like Clarissa obviously clearly dominated the fight with the striking, especially when she was doing the counter punching, and she looked really good. But Danielle looked more assertive. She looked more like in a stance. She threw punches more correctly for the majority. She was just slower and older and a bit less, you know, a bit less reflexes. But maybe that's just me. I'll jump into the chat in a moment. But look, it was a clear victory, but it was just a case of people's on the undisputed in the third weight class. I mean, all right, yeah, but I don't think there's ever been a situation in the history of the sport of boxing where three vacant world titles just get added into a fight. I don't know where that ever happened, and it's almost like I don't know if can you really crown undisputed like that, where you fight for three vacant titles. The person you're fighting has never been a world champion, has never fought a world champion. I don't know. It's obviously this only happens at the top of the top of the women's division. This wouldn't happen at 147 or 154, 140, 135, 130, 126, 122. Yeah, obviously vacant belts happen here and there, but it's like one vacant belt, maybe. I've never seen a scenario in anywhere where you've had three vacant belts added to a fight. But yeah. Anyway, and hearing that she obviously had a shoulder injury or shoulder tear or something, I thought that was pretty good. That wasn't good that she got bit. The fact she got through that was impressive. I guess I'll give her some grace for that. Shout out man like Keela Dunford. Go back into the chat. I know I saw a few new people jump in. What's this? Philip answered, the only things that I saw the two guys falling out the ring badly and Clarissa dropping her opponent, which I'll admit was a great shot. Yeah, I mean, I need to go back and watch some of the rest because I've heard that some of the other fights or there was some drama or entertainment there somewhere. So I'll take a look. Shout out to man like Jonah31 in the building. Stevan Grab as well. Shout out to you, Stevan. Haven't seen you in a little while, man. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing good. Fight Fan TV live, man like Danny Glover in the building. Shout out, big up face to face. Clarissa definitely hits hard. I said she does, but she needed to learn how to finish people off as they all back up from her power at 154, 160 and 168. I mean, look, I think anyone can hit to a degree, but yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes it's not even a case that she hits hard, because also let's not forget, maybe she does, and maybe I've looked at it different, but Danielle was obviously, she was doubling that impact by jumping into the shot, and at the end of the day, that's still 185 to 190 pounds coming at you when you're not bracing for it. So yeah, man like Tony Pugilist Boy in the building. Shout out to you, my former co-host Tony. Still a partner in crime, not the partner in crime, but shout out, hope you're good. Emma Willis, I always love to see Emma in the chat. Shout out to you, Emma. It's crazy how she still throws wild shots when she gets her opponent hurt. Yeah, you would have thought you would have calmed down by now. Wonder who her trainer is. She's trained by John David Jackson. That's who, unless you're talking about Danielle. I don't know who her trainer is, but it's John David Jackson who trains Clarissa and has done from her pro debut. Shout out to James in the building. Hope you're doing well as well. James Povetkin. What's the Povetkin with the eyes? I'm not sure, James. You might have to fill me in with what you're referring to there. I know that he's never had three vacant belts thrown into a title fight, if that's what you're referring to. But yeah, let me know. Emma, in 15 fights, she won 13 belts. 8 were vacant and 1 just randomly given to her at light heavy. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to I mean, when I say it, I'm a hater, but you know, the facts are the facts. Shout out to man like Dungargan 78. What are you saying? I think the same. I honestly don't see the elite boxing skills people talk about. She's just more active than her opponents. I can see at certain times it's the movement to get into range, but it's when she gets in, it's almost like she some people have that when they got that fight or flight. It's like a panic. They throw the shot in panic, just like, okay, I need to get you before you get me, kind of thing. That's what it feels like, more so than I'm setting things up to carefully dissect and pick you apart. Shout out to man like Ra Holcomb in the building. Blessings to you. North Bank Bren. Shout out to you, Bren. Good to see you here. Let's see what's Ross saying. John David Jackson was quite the middleweight back in the 90s. He still wants to get back when Castro KO'd him after he outboxed him for 8 rounds. Yeah, he might have to just let that one go, unfortunately. Povetkin now banned for failed drug test in 2014. Wait, so they've banned Povetkin from boxing now in 2025 for something that he failed back in 2014, even though he's been retired for like the last 3 years. Is that what you man are telling me? Flipping, no. Okay. I mean, he weren't planning to come out of retirement, but that's crazy. That is actually funny. That's funny and crazy in equal measures. Stevan Shields is not the GOAT. There isn't even a reason to call anybody that amongst the women. I'm sorry, there are a few female fighters. That's it. Fair enough. Oh, a few elite. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But the thing is, the funny thing is, outside of, I would say maybe Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron, Michaela Mayer, and maybe to a lesser extent someone like Sandy Ryan or Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price, like there's a lot of the women that are quote unquote world class or that have been undisputed champions, might currently be undisputed or unified champions, and they win their fights just based off the fact that they throw more shots than their opponent does. And in isolation, that sounds like a bit of a stupid comment, but there's not really a huge amount of skill to what they do. It's literally, a lot of it is like, maybe a highish guard, walk forward, and then you outland your opponent. You just throw more than your opponent. You might take, for example, all right, and this might, it might be some backlash in this one, but even look at someone like, say, Amanda Serrano. Like, she's great in the pocket, she's great combination punching, but in terms of footwork, nothing great there. Like, counter punching, there's no counter punching. Like, IQ in the ring to sort of set things up. It's like, nah, it's just, I'm just gonna outland you and use the fact I've got more power than you. I'll take what you throw back and I'll get you out of there. Erica Cruz is very similar. Like, these are legit world level women in terms of the women's code, but when you look at the skills, like, they're just not really up to par. But then you get people like Ellie Scottney and Sky Nicholson, like I said, Michaela Mayer, Natasha Jones. Like, these are people that actually have IQ that can set shots up and can work things out. So it's a different code ultimately. But it's just crazy that obviously I think a lot of the grace for the women is because their fights are exciting, and I'll always give them, in terms of like, the best women normally don't have an issue fighting the best women. They're starting to have issues with it now that they're, some of them are getting a little bit more money now. All of a sudden there is some 8-side talks or Marination talks and stuff like that, but that never used to really be the case like that. I'm hoping it kind of goes back to where it was back in 2021, when ultimately they were just happy to get on the cards and they were ready just to show up and show out. I'd like to get back to that sort of level. Emma Willis, Shields did prove eliteness in that Marshall fight though. She really impressed turning up. Yeah, that was a very good performance for her. I mean, Admittedly, I still kind of had that. I still edged that fight to Marshall, but I saw how Clarissa won it. Um, but it was a case of, yes, in that was probably one of the few fights where I saw her implement all the stuff that I needed to see her implement. Maybe that one, the Nikki Adler fight, I think was a good um, experience for her, and possibly the Christina Hammer was a where fights where she looked, she showed these things rather than just the big flurries every moment. Um, yeah, even though he's retired, they were crazy. Um, Ren, tell me what organization, or who banned him? Is it like the Russian Federation, the American Federation? Is it the British Boxing Board? Like amateur site? Like just who was the ones that have announced the ban? Just let me know that. Um, Shout out to Dr. Wolf tickets in the building. I thought Shields lost the fight. And I don't know how elite she can look if she's up against average opponents in a thin division. Well, technically, you should look super elite if you're up against average opposition because you're too good for them. So you're supposed to like ragdoll, dominate, and batter. Now, don't get me wrong, she controlled the fight. She was very decisive victor, but one judge I think gave her all of the 10 rounds, but then one judge gave her 7 out of the 10, and the other judge I think gave her um, 9. So I think she got a one. It was like 100 to 89. Then I think there was 99 to 90, and then there was a 97 to 92. So, and that was more in line with me. I think I gave Perkins 2. I think I was on the verge of giving her a third. I can't remember what I did because I wasn't really properly scoring it. But that 97, 92 seemed correct to me. Um, I'm just saying, if Perkins is an average opponent, you're supposed to be not struggling as much as you did with her. It's size aside. This is my opinion, though. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Let's go back to this Povetkin thing. Yeah, apparently unreported PED dropping of doping for Povetkin banned for 4 years. I'm assuming, though we know he is retired. Yeah, he probably saw that come through as a holy shit. Oh, idiot Americans, idiot Westerners. He's on them flexes because okay, cool. Caught me for something I did 11 years ago. Like this ain't capital punishment. Scott needs all skill. Yep, definitely. She's someone that I can apply that critique to of she properly is a skillful fighter that gets into range or causes that slick in and out movement. Can counter punch, can punch on the inside, can box on the back foot, can do like a bit of everything. Um, if Ellie had more power, she'd be devastating. It's the lack of power which will give other girls like opportunities against her. Maybe if she goes up to 126, and maybe she might generate a little bit from there. But it may be worse. Maybe she won't have any power kind of at 126 at all, and then maybe gets walked down and pushed back by those smaller girls who maybe hit her a bit harder. Never know. Be good to see when she does finally move up though, but I would like to try and get her to undisputed because no one's really cleaning out divisions properly the way that she is at the moment at 122. Isn't Clarissa's movie supposed to be out? Yes, so her movie is supposed to be out. It's out on Friday technically, and I actually looked in my local cinemas for it. It's not in any Odeons that I've seen, and I only really go to Odeons because I got my membership card. I think it's in. I saw it in a couple of I think they're called Curzon, like Curzon cinemas. But there's only like 4 or 5 of them, or maybe 6 of them in the country. I haven't seen it in View or Empire or Specialist. I haven't seen any limited screenings. So I don't know what's going on with that film. I don't know, what's happening with that. Well, at this point, I'm just gonna have to stream it, and that's a shame because I actually do want to like support the film to a degree, but you know, if they can't make it accessible, and you would think that Greenwich Odeon they show bloody everything there, so the fact it's not there is a real surprise or a real shock to me. The International Testing Agency on behalf of the IBA, the test was awarded. Oh, okay. So that must have been when that would have been around the time he was fighting man like Carlos Takam. And okay, that's interesting. Thanks for the heads up there, North Bank. Part of an ongoing investigation into Russia. Okay. Alright. The failed test result was hidden at the time. Okay. Here comes Emma, what she said. Typical Russian anti-doping conduct there, much like USADA. Yeah, I mean, you hear about it. Povetkin has had all results from October 25, 2014 changed to DQ, banned through ITA, IBA, and evidence was retrieved from a Moscow WADA lab. Wait, all results from the 25th of October moving forward, or all results? I'm gonna, after the stream, I'm gonna check up on this. But this is I'm at home tomorrow. There are episodes that need to be recorded, and this will definitely have to go in one. I'll do more research. I'll get off the Povetkin stuff shortly. Sorry, the test wasn't WADA. It was a Moscow branch of WADA. Oh, okay, right. So that's probably why we didn't hear anything about it. Clarissa movie and small art house is a small art house movie. Yeah, but normally you will get a couple of, like I said, a couple of the Odeons or the Views, or like one or two will grab or get it, because from what I know that it was in mainstream cinemas in America. It just wasn't in like all of them. I know there was in a couple of the mainstream chains. So a cinema in Acton was showing it. Acton. Yeah, I'm not traveling to Acton. Acton's like an hour away from me. Well, this time of night is probably about 40 minutes, but that's like an hour with traffic, an hour and a bit. I'm not traveling all that way just to watch a film. Right there, I'll stream that. It was during the Takam. Yeah, okay, there we go. All results from that date. Rotted. Man's whole career has just been taken away in one fell swoop. Well, I mean, alright, cool. We can, I guess, the same way as people say with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, you can change the result, but you can't change those beatings. And them man there took those beatings. So, it is what it is. Shout out to October Red in the building. Big ups to you, Reddish. Good to see you here. I'm definitely gonna see it. Face Elizabeth line in 20 minutes. I'm not even anywhere near the Elizabeth line. I've got to travel just to get to the Lizzie. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'll check timings, because maybe I'll. But again, I'm I can be very set in my ways. If it's not Odeon, I ain't really caring. Why is I'm not even clashing with what's behind me, so that's a bit. Well, actually, I might be. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we got the Clarissa stuff out the way. We got this Povetkin stuff out the way. Thank you guys very much for kind of bringing that to my attention. But I guess, look, so now if we're looking at what's going on with the whole Canelo saga, so we've seen from Ring where it looks like very much that we're getting Crawford in September. That looks very much like it's a go at this point. But the one thing that we don't really know is what he's going to do in May. Normally he would have something announced by the end of this week, would have been the latest usually, but it's normally towards the middle to end of January. So Yeah, I guess at that point you just have to kind of wonder what's really going on. Um, but now we hear news that supposedly it could be a Jake Paul situation. Like Jake Paul's obviously tweeting about it. Now whether that might just be a case of him doing his normal promotions and trolling thing, but there does seem to be some partial validity to it. Now that's normally something that you would expect like Canelo to do maybe a couple of years from now when he's really looking to settle down and have just that last exhibition type fight. But I mean, if you're looking, let's be real, if you're looking to make some big money, right? Your This Riyadh deal that he potentially has, or this ring deal, or whatever, doesn't seem to be taking place until September starts anyway. He's got this final commitment. It may not be an actual commitment to the PBC, but it's like it's probably like his final where he can extract some money from the PBC for a quote unquote a light touch. I mean, that Jake Paul fight definitely seems like that's a light touch that you can get paid a whole lot for, while getting yourself into just like a sharp little rhythm before a big Crawford fight. I don't hate it, especially knowing that if it's a case of, well, look, the big fight's happening in September, this is just like a stay busy, but it's a stay busy against someone that a lot of people want to see get punched in the face. It makes perfect sense. And marketing wise, and to be fair, shout out to people like Calix, Joe Habib, Michael Montero. I think even Ring IQ's probably said it before. Like, it was inevitable that the Canelo Jake Paul thing's gonna happen, because that's the easiest payday he's about to get if it was to take place. The only thing that I don't know about is, remember, Jake Paul had to pack on like 30-40 pounds worth of size to try to go into that Mike Tyson fight. Like, has he been able to get a lot of that off? Now I know that he was saying he didn't even like the training stuff, but he had to constantly be eating to even keep that weight on. So maybe a lot of the weight will just drop straight off, and he'll sort of be around about 210 at the minute, 215. And then obviously you go into a training camp, and what weight would it be at? Would it be a catch weight 190, which is what Jake Paul used to be competing at? Or will it be a 200 and Jake Paul's allowed to come in at 200, Canelo come in at 180 pounds or whatever that he wants to walk around at? It'd be interesting if it was to take place. I definitely wouldn't rule that out, quite frankly. What's this? Base wants to stretch back seat, so he ain't going. Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I mean. To be fair, I'm not a snob. I'm not, I don't have to be in the Odeon lots of them seats there. But it's just, I'm not. To be fair, the only way you can see me travel to the other side of the city to go watch film, or like, is if either I'm staying there, like I'm literally in that area staying, or like maybe I got a girl that's live over there, and I'm going on a little cheeky one. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the only way you're seeing that, like, for that level of travel, when I got like 2-3 cinemas, good quality ones, like round the corner from me, 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive. It's a bit different. Shout out to James Clifford, £5 super chat. Big ups to you. Thank you very much for contributing. Hey Base, thanks for all the great content. Appreciate you. Thank you for thinking it's great. So Ann Wolf versus the World Clarissa Shield. Oh, Ann Wolf. I know that Clarissa's faster, but Wolf is a dog, and Wolf actually had those proper, not just the fundamentals, but she knew how to sit down on those shots. I would give that to Ann Wolf like 9 times out of 10. And Clarissa might win. If anything, Clarissa might get like the first one just off of a surprise thing. But then the other 9 would go to Ann. But in that first one, Clarissa will, experience what she felt in the Savannah Marshall fight. She's talking like, I couldn't see out of my eye for like the last 4 rounds, like busted my eardrum, like She hit hard, like all of that stuff. Like that wouldn't be a fight that she'd want to entertain again if she scraped a victory. And the winners don't think a reigning champion should be doing exhibitions. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I hear you. But technically, this wouldn't be an exhibition. So this would actually, because this is two guys that actually have active boxing licenses that are actively boxing. However, you can get, I mean, well, actually, you know what? Let's be real. Back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, you had reigning champions doing exhibitions, but they just did it in between their fights. If he's getting 2 fights this year, if we consider that most boxers nowadays are like fighting once a year, unless your name's Inoue and you're just doing a madness because you're trying to take it back to the old school. But if you're fighting once a year, then having an exhibition before that fight isn't the worst way to go. Which again could be a little bit hypocritical because I wasn't happy with Tyson Fury for doing it, but the difference is he was constantly just fighting those type of fights. But with this, you know, look, we got Berlanga, we got Munguia, and we got Berlanga last year, which were, you know, taking out 2 of the up and coming guys, so to speak. If you then do a Jake Paul with the titles not on the line, maybe, so, you know, and then your one fight for the year is Terence Crawford. Yeah, I can't argue with that one in hindsight, especially if the Crawford fight's been signed as we kind of have seen. So I get what you're saying, Emma. I do partially agree with you, but I can't moan at this one if, you know, other things have already been put in place as we've been led to believe. Jake Paul has balls, has more balls than most BBC champions. Well, yeah, there is that. James is put onto the cheeky one. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way. Like, look, you know, little cheeky situation. Right, cool. Maybe travel over those sides if you're planning on staying over those sides. You know what I mean? But yeah, outside of that, that's you know, not for a solo run. I think that's not really worth the time. But yeah, look, I mean, I guess we kind of look at from all accounts, like we said, the Crawford fight seems to be done to a degree. The one thing I would like, though, and I can't lie, I would like for Crawford to fight again. Now I know that he's been a 1 a year fighter. Some people call him a, you know, part-time fighter for like the last five years or so. And I get, ever since COVID happened, I think it was harder to try and meet his mandatory minimums in his contract, and obviously he just couldn't get the fights with the people that would give him the necessary respect on the resume. But if I was him, especially if I'm building towards 168, I can't lie, I would have said, yeah, try fight William Skull. If Canelo's not going to fight him, I would have said, all right, you fight him and you try to take that belt to go for the undisputed. But even outside of that, I think Crawford should go after Lara. Erislandy Lara, you know, he's got the WBA title. Crawford's got WBA at 154, so he can parlay that to get a shot at the WBA at 160. No one's fighting Lara. It's another pit stop on the way to 168, so you can see how you feel at 160 pounds, and then say, okay, how did I feel here? Was I tired? Did I gas out? Was I not as mobile? All right, so maybe this is the way I come in the next fight with Canelo. Maybe another 8 pounds won't do me the world of good, and then you sort of gauge it that way. And Lara, big puncher, really good movement and whatnot. But Lara's obviously slowed down a lot slower, hits hard, but he's also a much smaller 160 guy. He's naturally like a small 154, and it's just due to his own, like, his skills and abilities as to how he's competing up there. So, and he's obviously started his career back at, I think, 147. So to me, that would be you fight at the end of May. If Canelo's going to fight at the start of May, you fight at the end, or you fight at the middle, or maybe even see if you can get Turkey to put both of you on the same card. You fight Lara at 160, Canelo fights Skull or something at 168, then the two of you meet in the middle. The two of you meet, at the end of the year, September, and at least that way, Crawford, if there is any ring rust, or he's got to slow it down and try to warm himself into the fight, he won't have to, because Crawford normally warms himself into a fight, whereas Canelo is like he front loads the fight. He dominates the first half of the fight and then just kind of controls the second half, at a much slower pace, whereas Crawford goes the opposite way. But maybe you get that little fight in first, then you can start fast as well. And I would more trust Terence Crawford's stamina reserves to where he doesn't just have to manage rounds the way that Canelo does after sort of maybe 6 or 7 these days. But that's sort of my thought. I'd definitely like to see what you guys think in the comments down below. There's 2 mega events for Canelo, which is big for the sport. However, the 168 division needs a refresh and more competitive fight between contenders. With the WBC, WBA, WBO, and stripping. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, without him, they're not going to strip him. If he fights Jake Paul, as much as Jake Paul is, I believe Jake Paul's got a rank in the WBC. It might be like a 15. I don't know what division they've got him ranked at. But I'm pretty sure the WBC would find a way to put a ranking on him and put him in the top 15 to put their belt on the line to be able to get a sanctioning fee, because that's what they're about. But even if none of the belts are on the line and the WBO and the WBA refuse to accept to put their belts on the line, they won't strip Canelo because they haven't called mandatories yet. So they might do the same thing that they was going to do with Sebastian Fundora, let him fight Errol Spence, but we won't have our belt on the line, we just won't sanction it. And if that's the case, cool, it's just it just is what it is until the big fight. But I would definitely, like I said, I would like Crawford, but all the other guys need to just do their own, they need to all clear out the scene. That's why I'm happy we're supposed to be getting Mbile and Lily Sajo. Those are 2 guys that have been circling that periphery of those contenders for a while. All right, let's see what you guys got. Munguia obviously now has got a comeback from that shock upset defeat, but he's already taken out a couple of, or tried to take on a couple of people. Berlanga needs to do some work now that he's he had his mill ticket as well. Osleigh's Iglesias, he's probably going to be the next one up, the next big Cuban off the rank at 168. I'm sure that he's going to need to get some opportunities. I wouldn't mind seeing him against someone like Callum Simpson. That I think would be a good fight, or a good test to see where both guys, or what both guys are really saying. Maybe Callum Simpson might be a bit too green for that one, because Osleigh's obviously got more of a not so much an amateur, but I think he's done a bit better in terms of pro opposition. So yeah. What's this from Emma? Don't like Crawford's chances above 154. I know he's elite, but they punch hard over there. Oh yeah, no, look, everything's a jeopardy when you start. Remember, let's not forget, what was it like? Was it 18 months ago? I think it was just after the Spence fight, or maybe even before the Spence fight. They asked him, I know it was after the first one when they were supposed to be waiting for second. Would you do 160? And they was, well, look, I'm 154. I ain't going no higher than this 154. Because there's weight classes for a reason. Right? Them guys is big, and I guess obviously the Canelo thing is the one thing. Whereas Canelo is he's the same size as you to a degree, like same height. You've got the longer reach. He came from the weight class that you're at, so it makes a bit more sense. But no, I think Crawford and Erislandy Lara is, I think that's competitive enough. But Lara's slightly taller, got the slightly longer reach, but Crawford's got speed, the speed advantage. And again, Lara's a small 160, so I think that would be a good fight. The same way as I would, you've got to be selective when he's going up the weight class, isn't it? Like I'm not expecting to see Crawford versus Benavidez, like Jose or David. You know what I mean? I wouldn't expect that. I wouldn't expect him to be fighting Caleb Plant or Anthony Durrell or those. I mean, to be honest, I think he could still do well against Durrell and them man there. But the Diego Pacheco's, I doubt he's going to be taking on them kind of guys. But like the Charlos, yep, 160, 168, 154, no problem. I don't see that as an issue. Erislandy Lara, Keith Thurman is, obviously still knocking around in those, but the guys that are smaller that have moved up with you, like those ones is not really an issue. I think the Lara fight would be a good fight. Even Carlos Adames, to be honest, I think I'd give him odds to have that fight. And I remember Chris Eubank Jr. was going on. Remember, he was on Twitter talking about Crawford with the eyes and all that. Say he was to get smoked by Conor Benn, or say that he beats Conor Benn. I would, that would be a fight that Crawford wouldn't really have any, objections to taking. So, yeah, selectively, there's people that he can beat probably up to 168 pounds. But realistically, like, you have to then do the pick and choose, and you've got to do the cherry pick thing, which at this point in his career and after what he's done already, yeah, you're allowed to cherry pick your way through the other divisions. You get a pass to do that. Because no one's stupid enough to just go up there just for the sake of going up there. Like, fight the people that give you at least a fighting chance to win. I think they said they'd ranked him if he beat Tommy, which he didn't. Now I'm pretty sure he got a ranking the other day, and the whole beating Mike Tyson thing, I guarantee you, someone's ranked. He's ranked in someone's top 15 or top 20. It won't be hard to get a top 15, like to push someone out of that 15 to get that 15 spot, especially in a lower weight class. WBC have ranked Suleiman's dog. Not surprised they ranked Paul too. Shout out to Starford. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he is ranked somewhere. I'd have to double check. I'm not sure if it was at heavyweight or at cruiserweight, but I think he's ranked at one of them, or he had a ranking at one of them. Yeah, believe it or not. Man like Veritas Adastra, shout out to you. What's to say? What's up, base? Bud could also fight a Charlo at once. Yeah, so I'm saying, like, selectively, anything above 154, he's got the right to pick and choose who he wants to fight. Like, he's done the work at 135, 140, 147, and I would like to see him try to clean out 154, but I understand 37 turning 38 this year probably is falling out of love with a lot of the game in that sense, but he knows there's a couple of big money opportunities. Maximize the money now while you're still young enough and active enough, and I won't even say skilled enough, but maybe just not a shot worn. Like, you still got the pretty good reflexes or whatever. Like, get those big money paydays in now, because you won't have all of Crawford's attributes by the end of this year. I think he's going to drop at least 35-40% in terms of speed, reflexes, sharpness. It's going to take him a lot longer to actually get those in the fights. The IQ and the sort of the footwork and that sort of stuff will always be there, but the other stuff I think after this year will start to deteriorate massively. So I think he probably feels it in himself, that how he's slowing down. He's like, all right, let me maximize the opportunities now. But that's also why I'm a bit disappointed that he didn't take the Fondora fight back in. He could have had that fight like October, November last year. He could have had 3 belts right now going up to the Canelo fight. Then maybe knowing that the Canelo fight is going to take place in September, and more likely you don't get the Cinco de Mayo date, you have to get the Mexican Independence Day, then you could have had potentially 3 belts, and then you could have been doing undisputed at 154 now with Bakram Murtazaliev. Now, whether or not that's a fight that you want to take, I don't know. That is a difficult fight, especially the renewed Bakram is a little bit, you know, that's a risky test. But and I guess maybe it's the case of, actually, you know what? If Canelo had have wholeheartedly just dismissed and didn't say, no, well, what do I get out of it, kind of thing, and they said, no, not fighting him. He's not a 168 pounder. Like, I'm doing my own thing up here. He needs to do his own thing. Maybe Crawford would have done the Fundora and the Murtazaliev thing. Although I think he probably would have more liked to fight Tim Tszyu rather than Bakram Murtazaliev. So yeah, but I guess that would have been a nice way to get undisputed there. And then you try to do that. You do the legit 154 undisputed versus the 168 undisputed, because Jermell Charlo obviously was legit, but he'd been out of the ring for God knows how long. He'd been ducking the mandatory with Tim Tszyu. Like, it was a little fraudulent. Whereas, at least Crawford's out here doing work. So yeah, Star Fox says big up to the chat, and 100% shout out to you as always. Okay. Star Fox, I heard WBC ranked. I'm not repeating the rest of that. Hill, like, you're straying a bit too close to the line. I mean, I like it. I ain't gonna lie to you, but like, you gotta chill. Especially if he knocks out Jermell that Canelo didn't do. Yeah, I mean, there's a built-in narrative there. Like I said, I would like to see him fight. I don't want him to go into the fight off of 13 months of inactivity. Because also I don't want other people, and I don't want him to do the excuse of, I dared to be great, a little bit, I couldn't get my timing right. You see, I don't want to hear that, because you've got the opportunity to do it. And I'm not saying that he's going to lose, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't want certain excuses to be there, and they don't have to be. But I also do understand the risk versus reward, which is why I said the Lara fight, because the Lara fight gives you another reward. It gives you another belt in another weight class. So you could be a 5-weight world champion before going up to 168 to potentially then be a 6-weight world champion. So the only person who's done more weight classes than you is Manny Pacquiao. Like, that is that's something that you would be the I think only the second person. Would you be the second? Yeah, because Roy Jones, there was 5 weights, because he skipped a cruiserweight, so he only did 5. But yeah, you could be the second person to be 6 weights. It's Floyd, and it's Floyd Mayweather, and then it could be you, and obviously Pacquiao's 8, so no one's ever gonna. I don't think he's ever gonna see that record. But Pacquiao was never unified at undisputed, so that's where you kind of you take over in that rankings. You think Crawford or some Hagler Hearns shit, or gonna try and move and box. Now if we're talking about against Canelo, he'll move and box. He's not, unless Crawford, I think, is the type of person, if he's losing, or losing badly, or feels like he's about to get knocked out, he'll go out on his shield on that Hagler Hearns, but he ain't gonna try to give up his natural advantages straight at the start of the fight, because he prides himself on not just being more of a dog than his opponent, but actually he doesn't even pride himself on being a dog. He prides himself on being better. Like, whatever you think you're going to do, I'm going to do it better than you. I'm going to take your attributes away. That's what he likes to do. And then he just likes to be spiteful afterwards once he's got everything else going. So I can't see him just going for that early KO unless he's been hurt and it's like, damn, I feel like I'm about to lose, I'm about to get knocked out. Cool, it's me or you. Let's see who lands first. Only a matter of time before they created. You two, man. You two are bad. I'm not even. uh, right, let's say Emma bring back some normality to the chat. I think the Crawford versus Canelo is a farce, but Crawford deserves the money. All right, I hear that. That's a respectable take. I hear that. Um, from a quick Google, I think Philip is right. One last test before it goes to ratings committee. No mention of podcast. Okay. Shout out to man like Clyde Gordon in the building. What's he saying? Could Bud fight Bivol size wise since he's the smallest? Could happen. No. Bivol, as much as he's a smaller 175 guy who could probably get down to 168, he's a very big guy in that sense. That's just too much of a deficit to give up. It doesn't. Yeah, that one don't really make sense. I mean, yes, he could in theory fight anyone, but again, when we're talking about risk versus reward, that won't really do much for him, and not at this age. If he was maybe 2 years younger at 154, he might think a little bit differently about it. But yeah, that one, yeah, that's a step too far, bridge too far at this point in time. Yeah, hashtag Philip is right. Hey, I mean, see if you get it trending. Like you got the powers. So is there any? Because I've only really checked a few bits and pieces. One thing that I wanted to kind of speak about really, the Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, the face-off, but the one from TNT Sports. I don't know if anyone's seen that one yet. I can't lie, I actually preferred that one to the one with Frank Warren and Andy Lee in it. Even though I feel that Andy Lee was doing some good work trying to probe Daniel Dubois in terms of some of the answers and that. But I liked the fact that Daniel was in that one by himself, talking by himself, like just being himself, giving his own lines. And I feel like it flowed a lot better between him and Joseph when it was just the two of them. The one thing I will say though is Carl Frampton, cool guy, met him several times while doing the media thing. I don't know if he was the right guy for that one though. I would have preferred if it was Dev. I think Dev Sani would have been perfect for that one, the same as he was for Wallin and Chisora. I think Dev Sani would have been able to get more out of both of them in terms of just that interaction, that back and forth that they were having. But I thought Daniel, that was probably one of the most comfortable that I've heard him, like by himself in that environment before. Obviously, some of the lines still didn't quite deliver the way they needed to, but yeah, it was better. And he was talking. He just felt like he was talking a lot more naturally, and it was a lot less coached and rehearsed. Clyde Gordon, have we mentioned that trick yet? No, we didn't mention that. That was a bit of a funny part to that to that fight. It was funny, but yeah, no, we didn't take it to that level. Had to step out, so missed a bit. But did you see Ori signed with Queensbury? Yes, I saw it. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if I'll do a segment on it. I mean, look, I've met him. What fight was it that I met him at? I think it was a fight in Birmingham. It was either a Matchroom Birmingham card or one of their OVO cards. But I think in that same one he did an interview with October Red. And I know that there was talks of him potentially trying to go WWE, but clearly that looks like it's fizzled out and he's committed himself to boxing. I've seen some of his amateur stuff. I know that he was a bit controversial to get beat in the first round of the Olympics. So it'd be cool to see sort of how he gets on. It's gonna be hard for me to talk about him though, because I'm sorry. I know and I know it's not, it shouldn't be a thing, but I'm not calling no man that word in it. Whether that's your, if that's your first name, you need a new first name. Like maybe I'll call you, maybe you'll be Del, maybe I'll call you Del, Del Ori or something like that. You could be the new Del boy, because yeah, I'm sorry, we can't. I am not doing that. It can't happen. I'm sorry. Um, Um, still haven't seen both of them, but I will. Um, but I will until it reaches to fight week. Haven't seen both of who. I don't know. The face off you're talking about. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get what you mean. Yeah, no, that I like the second one more than the first one with that Ade done for the zone. But it just would have been, it would have been even better, I think, if Dev did it, because he knows how to. I think he knows how to get certain probe certain answers out of people. Whereas Carl Frampton seemed a bit more cut and dry. You needed Carl Frampton for one of them that's going to be like overly heated and angry, whereas you need Dev for like the ones where it's going, it might hear some just unintentionally funny lines. Dubois won't be denied. Slam the desk. What's this? Did Daniel have an earpiece in this? Frank must have been on the other end, just out of shot. No, don't do Daniel like that. Look, he's getting better. He's getting more comfortable in certain situations. And let's not forget, right? As much as I think the fact that Daniel is so socially unaware of certain things, and that's probably the best way for me to say it, he still can come out with certain things. I mean, look, as you know, disrespectful as it was, and how, you know, a normal thinking, processing individual wouldn't have gone there. The way he, you know, did the way that he clapped back at Joe Joyce's mom in that press conference. That wasn't something someone told him to say. Like, that's just something him in his conscious was like, oh, you can't see, innit? And it's almost like he just thought that and he just said it. But yeah, I feel like probably he's just not very socially aware of how you know, certain things just you are or you aren't allowed to say. And to be honest, having heard his dad speak a few times, him and his dad may have the similar thing where it's like socially they're in their own world, and they don't really, it's almost like they don't understand feelings and nuances. You just say what's in your head and kind of get it out there and move on. So but yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, he's Del Ori from now on. Yeah. Del Boy Ori. Oh, that's it. I can't. That first name is not getting called by me. I can't do it. They's gonna start split man's name up. Del ish us. Oh, with a nice jab there and a glass of milk. Yeah. Or with a glass of Chianti. I want to see Dubois Usyk rather than Parker Usyk. I mean, the rematch will be interesting. I hear that. Yeah, let's just stick to to surnames when discussing Ori. Yeah, Dorito or Dorito Ori. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I guess we're gonna have to make up. It's just gonna have to be nickname central. Man like Dio, what's popping? Like that's kind of how we have to be giving that one up, because yeah, it's a bit crazy still. Keep stream. We're gonna go for about another 10-15 minutes, especially as I was late in today, so I'll call him Deli, like Deli Ali. I mean, maybe. But the thing is, do you have to? Here's the thing: when you're interviewing him, do you have to kind of let him know, look, before the camera starts rolling, like I can't say your whole name in, so I'm just gonna call you Dell or something, because he might then feel like a bit disrespected if we're just giving him nicknames just out the just out the blue. But I would hope that he understands why it's a bit difficult for us. You know, I know certain people ain't thinking the way I'm thinking, and I get it. It can be very juvenile. It might be very. People might say, "Oh, you're not comfortable with it." Like, cool, but it just I have limits in it. I have boundaries and I have standards, and that's one of them. Right? There's certain things that you know. Yeah, uh, that's but that's me. That's I'm not telling anyone else to follow me in that one. Like that's me. If that's me being childish or whatever, I'll take it. That's fine. But it's just my principles, the way how I am and the way how I'm feeling and thinking about it. I can't do it. Um, in fact, as much as I like seeing my little hardcore casual logo in there, I actually prefer this one for this strip. So we're gonna keep this here. Um, yeah, shout out to Muller. He said exactly, no man is being called that 100%. It's a mad name still. Um, that other boxer, it's a mad name still like that other boxer, Cam Awesome. Never heard of, never heard of him, Cam Awesome. But Cam, at least we know Cam is probably short for Cameron or Cameron. Um, I would assume. I'd have to check, but yeah, okay. Is there anything else from Russia called? Mm, nice try, Philip. I don't know. Maybe there is. Uh, Shout out to James again. I appreciate you for the super chat earlier. Looking at their statistics, such as height being similar, and Canelo now has so much mileage, can be a little slow for Crawford sees where he can win. I actually think this is intriguing. Yeah, no, 100%. It's an intriguing fight because they're more closer in size than any of the others. It's just the fact that Canelo has been such an elite level operator that he's literally able to take on guys that are 2, 3, 4, 5 inches taller than him and walk them down and beat them up. But a lot of them, the guys that he does that to, are also the ones that are like a little bit green, so that he knows that his overall experience tops theirs. When it came up to someone who wasn't as green, like the Bivol, you kind of see what happened. I think after Bivol is when he's like, okay, I'm not taking on no more like big guys with experience or the challenges. Now I'll take on the people that are up and coming, because that's how you kind of then rebuild your resume. Because if they do well moving forward, that makes you look better because you beat them, so you've got their name on the record. And a lot of people won't look at the whole, oh well, he was a novice then, or he was inexperienced, or he didn't have that top level seasoning, or they're just going to say, oh, he beat him, and then he became a unified world champion 2 years later, 3 years later, kind of thing. So I get the play. And also, I guess after Bivol, you're like, well, boy, now it's time for me just to start taking some light touches, because before, when I was just running through divisions, people didn't want to give me my credit. Cool, well, I'll chill and I'll still make the same amount of money that I've been making for easier opponents, and I keep my belts, and I'll just have a good time. So I'm looking forward to your interview. That's one of the reasons I didn't interview him the time when I saw him, because I didn't know how I was going to navigate the name situation. He was a nice guy. He was there. He was ready to interview with everyone. I could have, but I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna get around this. And so I'm just gonna call my Mister. I might have to call my Mr. Ori. What's this? Imagine being called every day at school by teachers. No wonder he's a boxer, man's vex. Uh, uh, Zim parents are notorious for giving such names. I know guys named Punctual, Precious, and Gorgeous. Wow, that's mad. I mean, Punctual, boy. I mean, Precious is okay. Well, I don't know if you're trolling, but if you're not, that's not that is nasty work. I know that obviously, maybe in other cultures, those names maybe don't mean the same thing that they mean in these ones. I understand there's a lot of names that are given like blessing and sort of things like that where they mean different, in other, or they have a slightly different connotation to them, sort of in the African culture or even just other subcultures. Um, does anyone think Canelo can knock Jake Paul out? Because I don't. I expect him to be done with it. No, he can knock Jake Paul out. He could 100% knock Jake Paul out because the difference, if Jake gets hit a certain way, he hasn't got the experience or the natural boxer's mentality of how to survive, and the whole, if he's trying to just run for the rest of the fight, like he'll just get walked down and beaten up. And Jake, but one thing about Jake, which is different to a lot of the other guys, is that Jake, I think, has got heart in the sense that he's not like an intelligent boxer in that sense. So he'll try and throw back because in his mind, you're not about to just like beat me up kind of thing. In that sense, I feel like he's the kind of guy that will try to swing back just off of an ego thing at the time, and then probably end up getting taken out in that fashion. Because Logan did it with Floyd Mayweather. They just kind of have that about them. It's they feel like, especially because people have always thought, oh, these little Disney kids, these punks, they ain't got no heart, they ain't about nothing. That's why Logan obviously probably gone to WWE. Is like, well, yo, like this is one of the hardest things that you can do as an athlete, and I'm gonna prove that I can do it and I can be dominant in it. So that's my opinion. I do think, and I think Jake will leave himself open to getting caught with certain shots that will get man knocked out or badly buzzed and then stopped on the ropes or something. I've heard Precious but Punctual stop playing Hill. Yeah, man saying no joke, fam. I know another guy named Continuous. Oh, imagine his brothers were called Precious and Roger, sorry. Or then their names would be Price and George. That's what I'd be calling them. I would have went with you, man. Behave it. Behave. Oh, no, that's funny. That's funny. All right, cool. I feel like we've got some good opinions out here. I want to thank everyone obviously for tuning in. So what we're gonna do as normal, last 3 minutes, get any comments in that you want to talk about. I'll try to get through as much as I can. I'll talk, and then when the beat goes down, as you guys know, that's when we leave the broadcast. Let's see what we got here. I'm not trolling this time. Zim names are terrible. Maram Baduro is a popular name. It translates to I refuse alcohol. Okay. That I could believe. That I believe. But, see what else comes in. But yeah, just to let you guys know, I might even be able to do 2 episodes tomorrow, because initially I didn't remember that I was actually working from home, so I was wondering how my day was going to work. But also it's my godson's birthday, well, one of my godson's birthdays tomorrow. It was my cousin's birthday yesterday, my little cousin. They're literally 2 days apart. So my cousin, he plays for Crystal Palace. So shout out to him. Obviously, I messaged his mum. I need to go check him soon. I'm gonna go check my godson tomorrow. Also, I need to check in one of my I call them my surrogate nieces. It was her birthday last week, and I didn't get to go over on the weekend, so I'm gonna stop by, drop off a present there. So I'm gonna try to do everything in the day while obviously doing my work as well, so that I can fly out the house quickly in the evening, so I can do the rounds and then get back home in time to rest. Because the last couple of days I felt a bit zombified. I can't lie. One of the reasons this stream started late is because I ended up dozing off and then had to do something. So I knew Philip was coming with this one. Yes, I saw the trailer. I watched it. I watched the build up, the countdown to it, and all of that. I think it's cool. It's a bit weird that we didn't see anything from Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, or his power, but Ben Grimm, the shape of his rock head looks a little bit funny to me, but I could get over that. Sue Storm, Johnny, I think it would be a good film, and I know it's supposed to be in a parallel Earth to our Earth, and somehow they end up getting transported through. So that's probably what it looks like. But look. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. I look forward to the next live, which will be coming up, soon enough. I'll confirm when exactly. But until then, it's the Hardcore Casual out.
Maybe I'ma make it, maybe I'm not. In time we'll see.